Today we are creating a wall type organizer, further to the topic of short tube remainders recycling, and at the same time the ideas for keeping things. I mean, we can both make use of tube remainders and at the same time create a practical and useful thing, first of all for school children. The item is meant to both decorate your room interior and at the same time keep pens, pencils, rulers, scissors, etc. As for the remaining vacant space, you can use it to pin up different notes. We are going to discuss possible ways to pin the notes up later. Everyone needs some reminders from time to time. In order to avoid piercing the walls, you can pin up reminders to this organizer. Let me tell you a few words about this green organizer. I made use of both tube remainders and full-length tubes. My task was filling as much space as possible to pin the notes up. I mean, there must have been as few gaps as possible. I use a normal wet tube to roll up the circles. Before I started moistening tubes, they used to break. When moisturized, the circles look much nicer and smoother. This circle is made of a full-length tube. This one as well. It is rolled up of an advertising paper. As you see, I make use of any material available. As for the ways to roll the circles, this one has been rolled around a knitting needle. This one around a pencil. A ring like this has been rolled around a small perfume bottle. So I made use of any stuff I found at hand in order to get rings and circles of various diameters. But as you must see, most of them are complete circles rolled up either around a thin brush like this or a knitting needle. Let's roll a normal single-colored ring like this. For this purpose I take a thin pencil and roll a wet tube around it. I showed for newcomers who never tried this technique. Cover the edge with glue thoroughly. In this case I use normal school glue. If the tube was dry, it would be pinched at the turns. In our case, the circle is quite smooth and neat. And fasten it with a closing clip. That's all, a single-colored circle is ready. But since our task is recycling tube remainders, let's try and make a two-colored ring. The first option is as follows. Roll up a tube remainder of one color. When it is almost finished, join a tube cut of a different color. After weaving a series of wall-type shelves, I've got plenty of short tube remainders of 3 colors. So I'm making use of these tube wreaths and creating an organizer. Check the edge. Fasten it with glue and press with a closing clip. Got it. Another option of a two-colored circle is a so-called snail. Start with one color, then add shorter cuts into the middle like this. cover with glue? Well, the joint may be somewhat hard to deal with, but you can do it holding from both sides. Fasten the edge. As a result, you get a two-colored snail like this. In the same way, I can combine brick colored tubes with white or black ones, as you can see here. I've added 3 large circles for a change. In this case, I've used full-length tubes. As you can see, I've started with 2 brick colored tubes, continued with a light blue tube, and finished with a brick colored tube again. As a result, I've got 3 huge circles like this. While uniting these circles into a single panel picture, it is very important to fill in all the gaps. If you made many large circles, there would be too many gaps between them. So it is very important to create lots of small circles like these, which will allow you to both recycle short tube cuts and fill in the gaps in order to hold your panel picture as a one-piece item. That's why short tube remainders can be very useful for making small rings as well. You need as many small rings like this as possible for filling in the gaps. When you've got enough rings prepared, it's high time to start uniting them into an integrated picture. This was my first panel picture like this. That's why it is of a somewhat vague shape. Well, it can be used anyway. However, after this first experimental picture, I felt like the one of a more interesting shape. So I've made a pattern like this to follow. So, the pattern is prepared. Take a piece of poly material. In my case, I've used a copybook cover. It has taken me a single evening to unite the rings into a one-piece item. Well, it was rather long to roll them up, however I've taken time to do. Some days I devoted even 5 minutes a day to this activity when I was too pressed for time. So as a result I've got lots of them. It doesn't take much time to unite them into an integrated item. Then place the circles along the pattern perimeter before filling in the inside space. I stick the rings to each other with the help of universal polymeric adhesive. In my case it is dragon glue. In other countries it can be called in a different way. It has a somewhat specific smell, but quite bearable. I've tried using other types of glue, but I'm not satisfied. Our organizer is going to hang on the wall, so it has to be strong enough. Sewing all the segments together would be too laborious, but dragon glue serves the purpose well enough. I apply glue overnight, but the next morning it fastens strongly enough already. This way I distribute complete circles along the edge, hollow rings in the middle, and fill in the gaps with the smallest ones. A panel picture like this, made of short tube remainders, can be used as a room interior decoration. However, I've decided to make it still more practical and woven a small cup like this based on a round bottom. I'm I'm going to fasten it with the same dragon glue and press it for the night. It holds perfectly strong, as has been proven on the example of this yellow-green organizer. The item is easy to hang onto the wall thanks to the holes. You don't need any additional fixtures, so the organizer is ready. It has been made of tube remainders that we used to throw away.